All right, thank you. You know, I was saying, yeah, that's right. Yeah. I was saying, when we first came over here to America, I mean, the thing is, our amplification systems were quite sort of small, so you kind of couldn't hear much of what we were doing anyway. And, of course, like, with the girls screaming. Okay, girls, give us a Beatles scream. That's the noise, yeah. Okay. Well, these days you can hear us, we got all the amplification. Okay, thank you, folks. And we always put that little bit on the end there as a tribute to the late, great Jimi Hendrix. And I tell the story that I was very lucky to hang out with Jimmy in the 60s when he came over to London. Because he... yeah, you know, he was a lovely guy, and I got to sort of hang out with him a little bit, because he launched his career from London, even though he's an American guy. And I think probably the biggest tribute he ever paid us in the Beatles was we had just released Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band on the Friday night, and 2 days later on the Sunday he'd learned it and he opened his act with it. And he played a great version of it, you know, and he had a big solo in the middle of it. And he's using his vibrator arm, his big speed vibrator arm, and so he's going wild on it. It's like, he's doing all this, you know, and it's a great solo. But we all knew, the people who played guitar in the audience knew that that would send him wildly out of tune. And this was his first number. So we know he's standing up there and he's like, he's out. What's he gonna do? So he starts looking around the audience. Is Eric out there, man? And he's looking for Eric Clapton. And Eric was in the audience, but Eric does not want to know. Jimmy spots him and says, hey man, will you come up here and tune this thing for me? We always wanted to go to Russia, mainly to play on that song. And we got a chance, we got invited to do a rock and roll show in Red Square in Moscow. Actually, it was the first rock and roll show in Red Square. And we went and we had a great time, we enjoyed the show, we played that number twice. Yeah, well, you can't play much, can you? Anyway, so we really had a nice time. What was interesting was backstage, there were a lot of members of the Russian government, because there was the Kremlin, it was Red Square, and it was free vodka. You know, so they were all back there. And one of my crew members, he says to me, see that little guy there? He says, he's the defense minister for the whole of Russia. Wow, big job. And yet he comes up to me, he says, Paul, first record I ever bought was Love Me Do. And then this other tall guy comes over, and he said, he's in the government too. He came over and he said, we learned to speak English from Beatles records. I go, wow, great. He looks me right in the eye and he goes, hello, goodbye. That's true, I swear. Yeah, so close. And we went in to make a demo. It cost £5. And there was 5 of us in the group. At the time, there was John, George, me, Colin on drums, and Duff on piano. So we each paid £1 and made the record, you know, our very first recording. Yeah, well, it was pretty exciting at the time, you can imagine. And the deal was that we would keep it for a week each. So John was going to keep it for a week, give it to me, I would keep it for a week, give it to George, he'd keep it for a week, give it to Colin keep it for a week, and give it to Duff, and Duff kept it for 20 years. Yeah. And then he sold it back to me. At a slightly inflated price. Anyway, so that song we did that day is the one we're going to do now for you. So, you know, how did you write all those songs, you know, the Beatles songs particularly? And it's strange, you know, because that song, Mr. Kite, I was round at John's house and we were thinking about what we were going to write that afternoon. And on his wall, he had this poster, which said, "Being for the benefit of Mr. Kite, and Pablo Fanky's Fair, and Henry the Horse," and it was kind of all written out there, you know. So we just like wrote it down. Okay, ukulele. I don't know how many of you know, I think a lot of you do, George Harrison was a brilliant ukulele player. Let's hear it for Georgie. And one afternoon I was round at George's house. I get around. And, we were just jamming on the ukuleles. He had a big collection of them. In fact, he gave me this one, the Gibson. Very good. Yeah. So we were just sitting around playing little, you know. And I said to him, I've learned one of your songs on the ukulele. So we sat around and we played that song then, and we'd like to play it for you now. Way back in the 1960s, we mean, whoa, you weren't even there. Yeah. Back in the 60s, there were a lot of troubles, particularly in some of the southern states of America, over civil rights in places like Alabama and Little Rock. And we would hear about all of this in England. And I wanted to try and write a song that, if it ever got back to the people in America going through these struggles, it might just give them a little bit of hope. Thank you very much, thank you. And one of the things I'm very proud of in writing that song is that when we go around the world on tour, I bump into quite a few people who say, "Hey man, you know, I tried to learn that song Blackbird when I was a kid, you know." How many people here tried to learn Blackbird? And you all got it wrong. Thanks for trying to learn it. The thing I always say at these shows is that if you want to get something nice said to someone, don't put it off. Because sometimes you think, "Oh, I'll say it tomorrow, or we'll catch them next week," and it can be too late, and you wish you said it, you know. Yeah. I wrote this next song just after my dear friend John passed away. Let's hear it for John. And as I say, you know, when we were kids particularly, young lads in Liverpool, you couldn't say that to each other, you know, you just didn't. You're trying to be hard, you're trying to be macho, you're trying to be cool. So you never said stuff like that, you know, and even later you hardly ever said it. So I wrote this song in the form of a conversation that me and John never got to have. So I told you about our very first little recording in Liverpool, but then came a time when we were invited down to London for to do a proper recording in Abbey Road Studios with the great producer George Martin. Let's hear it for George. Yeah, he's a great man. He was a really lovely man. He was one of those men you're privileged to know. And so this was our first session, and we arrived, you know, we'd never been in a big studio like this before, so we were keen to please, you know. And we weren't allowed to come in the front door of the studio. We had to come in the little back entrance, you know, sort of sneak in, you know, tradesman's entrance. Anyway, we did, you know, we were very happy because getting to make a record. And we were going to play Love Me Do for George. That was the song we started off showing him. And he liked it. And the way we did it was, when it got to the end of the chorus, John went, love me do, wah, wah, wah. Then he played the harmonica. But George said in the middle of the session, he said, look, he'd like to have the harmonica come in on the one. So he'd go, love me, wah, wah, wah. So obviously John couldn't do the both things at once. So George turns to me, and remember, we're pretty nervous, you know, at this first session. George Martin turns to me and says, Paul, would you mind singing the Love Me Do line? I go, I'd love to. So now I was nervous, now I'm terrified. And when I listen to the record these days, I can hear me go, love me do. But not tonight.